My final wish, Sir Colonel Potter, is to be laid to rest in my mother's wedding gown. These Dodgers have been around for 40 years. On MASH, one of the most famous shows ever, they made TV history by laughing and saving lives while appearing as a family on screen, even without the drinks. However, behind the scenes, things didn't go according to plan. More than 200 million homes in America were persuaded to chuckle by the organization. It's unfortunate that many viewers were unaware of the growing hostilities, silent exits, and spoken resentment that began to accumulate long before the final episode aired. In the dying days of her life, Loretta Swit, the adored wife of Major Margaret "Hot Lips" Houlihan, got the opportunity to finally speak out after years of silence. She adored and was loyal to her co-stars, therefore she told them everything. Even while MASH remained at the top of its game, her statements painted a picture of why some great stars left due to personal issues and behind-the-scenes turmoil. MASH was more than simply a television program. It was a groundbreaking concept that altered television viewing habits. This well-known CBS program, which ran from September 17, 1972 to February 28, 1983, combined comedy and the actual turmoil of war in a way that had never been done before. The 1970 film was based on Richard Hooker's 1968 novel MASH, which told the story of 3 Army medics. A group of doctors, and the people who worked with them, were the main focus of the multi-part story. MASH, which is set in Wajongbu, South Korea, during the Korean War, depicts the daily struggles they experienced, including providing frantic care for injured soldiers and coping with emotions like melancholy and homesickness. Sometimes it was downright ridiculous. The show's greatest quality was its ability to simultaneously make you laugh and cry. It was about what it meant to be human, not just a conflict. The initial group featured many famous characters. Alan Alda played the sharp-tongued Hawkeye Pierce, while Wayne Rogers portrayed Pierce's endearing companion, Trapper John. We adored Larry Linville as the tense Frank Burns and Loretta Swit as the fierce and complex head nurse, Major Margaret "Hot Lips" Houlihan. Mlan Stevenson played the relaxed Colonel Henry Blake. Gary Berghoff's character, Radar O'Reilly, was endearing and peculiar. Father Mulcahy, William Christopher, was a good-hearted priest, and Klinger, Jamie Farr, was a crossdresser. The band changed, but the show continued. After Wayne Rogers left, Mike Farrell assumed the role of B.J. Honeycutt. After Mlan Stevenson left the program, he assumed the role of Colonel Sherman Potter. Following Larry Linville's departure from the program, David Ogden Stiers played the snooty but endearing Dr. Charles Winchester. Klinger became the company clerk after Radar left. The spirit of MAS*H remained strong despite the many changes. Every new member of the gang was unique. An added bonus was that a lot of the magic episodes were based on real-life accounts from doctors who served during the Korean War. Some of the presentations had a personal touch, probably because Alan Alda wrote and directed them. MASH was regarded by many as one of the greatest television programs ever. Goodbye, farewell, and amen. The final episode aired in 1983. It received many positive reviews. In American history, it was the most watched television program. For decades, TV and that title remained in the same hands. MASH was more than simply television. It was poignant, humorous, and unforgettable. People did it. How Loretta Swit got there. In Passaic, New Jersey, on November 4, 1937, Loretta Swit, the well-known television personality known as Hot Lips, was born into a Polish-American family. Loretta and Robert Swit, who was 6 years older than her, were being raised by Lester and Nellie Swit. To provide for their family, they put in a lot of work. Her father was an upholsterer and salesman. Even as a child, Loretta was vivacious, gregarious, and energetic. Through Holy Rosary RC in Passaic, her parish, she joined the Girl Scouts. She went to Pope Pius XII High School and forgot how bashful she was. Loretta was a cheerleader, co-captain of the girls' basketball team, and a member of the school play cast. She attended the esteemed Catherine Gibbs School in Montclair after graduating from high school in 1955 and completed there in 1957. Like many females her age, she began her career as a stenographer, a secretary to socialite Elsa Maxwell, and a secretary to the Ghanaian minister in the United States. Loretta had another dream in addition to working hard. She took acting lessons in New York with Jean Frankel, who would become her coach and mentor for many years, and secretly trained as a dancer with a rocket friend. Loretta was also attending the American Academy of Dramatic Arts to learn how to sing. All of these abilities would soon enable her to establish a diverse entertainment company. Loretta began playing by attending plays. Loretta's very first off-Broadway role was in An Enemy of the People. She appeared in The Balcony at the renowned Circle in the Square Theater by 1961. She starred in The Odd Couple with Don Rickles and Ernest Borgnine and toured with shows like Any Wednesday throughout her consistent career in theater in the 1960s and 1970s. She starred in Broadway's Same Time Next Year in 1975 and continued to score outstanding roles in productions like The Mystery of Edwin Drood and Maine Down in Las Vegas. Throughout the 1960s and 2010s, Loretta never stopped working. She appeared in several productions of the one-woman drama Shirley Valentine and other plays, including A Morris Crossing and 6 Dance Lessons in 6 Weeks. None of them realized that TV history was about to be made when she relocated to Hollywood in 1969 and soon secured guest appearances on TV series such as Hawaii 5-0, Gunsmoke, Mission Impossible, and MS*H, the woman behind Hot Lips. Loretta Swit's portrayal of Major Margaret, Hot Lips, Houlihan on MASH created television history. The drama and humor in the play were set during the Korean War. One of the most watched characters was Swit. She first replaced Sally Kellerman, who portrayed Houlihan in the first MASH film from 1970, but I believe she also gave the role her own unique style. She was severe, strict, and utterly American at the beginning of the episode. Frank Burns, played by Larry Linville, was one of her secret loves, but she didn't get along with any of the other characters. They frequently performed foolish, uncomfortable, and damaging things together, and didn't get along. However, Margaret evolved into a more likable and well-rounded character as the series progressed, and perhaps Swit did as well. She married a lieutenant colonel, but their union was short-lived. She developed deep friendships with her medical and nursing colleagues after her marriage ended, and she started to show concern and empathy for the Korean residents of the area around the camp. These factors all demonstrated how MASH was evolving as a program. It changed from being primarily dark comedies and ridiculous to having a mix of sad and humorous moments. William Christopher, Jamie Farr, and Alan Alda were the only other players to be on MASH for all 11 seasons. Among them was Loretta Swit. She and Alda were the only cast members who appeared in both the original show and the heartbreaking conclusion. Swit was present in just 11 out of 256 MS*H concerts. Her appearance on the show was obviously valued. Swit's stunning and poignant performance earned her 2 Emmys. Hot Lips and Empty Arms, Margaret's Engagement, and The Nurses, which provided her character with a lot more personal history, were among her favorite episodes. She valued her tight ties with her co-stars outside of work just as much. Among them was Harry Morgan, the son of Colonel Potter. Following the conclusion of the show, Morgan and Swit became neighbors, a relationship that continued until Morgan's death in 2011. She remained close to Alan Alda and maintained contact with his wife, daughters, and grandchildren throughout their breakup. In addition to being the ideal actress for a certain part, Loretta Swit was the TV personality who helped to define a period. Behind-the-scenes drama. Although MS*H was adored by viewers for its heart and fun, there wasn't always such joy behind the scenes. Over the course of its 11 seasons, it included a great deal of backroom feuds, creative disputes, and cast turmoil, particularly around who was in command of the show's direction and who got to appear on screen. In addition to being the show's star, Alan Alda's portrayal of the adored Hawkeye Pierce evolved into the show's heart and soul over the course of the seasons. In addition to acting, he wrote and directed a lot of solo programs. After the original writers departed in the late 1970s, Alda even began producing and offering creative guidance. His assistance made the show more socially conscious and reflective than its previous, lighter episodes. Loretta Swit and Alan Alda had a tight relationship offset as well. In interviews, Swit frequently praised Alda's intelligence and assistance, claiming that he was a personal friend and quite different from the irate and cynical Hawkeye. After the shooting ended, they remained close friends since they got along so well. But not everyone was happy. A few cast members felt that Alda was the subject of too much of the show. This transformation has both positive and negative aspects. Because Alda had a larger role and the audience responded, the program was able to tackle more weighty subjects and take viewers on more in-depth emotional excursions. A well-liked and award-winning program, MS*H was renowned for its sophistication. However, that action caused a lot of cast members to be dissatisfied behind the scenes. Everything appeared to be out of balance. From the beginning, the entire group's effort grew increasingly concentrated on a single character, who was portrayed and creatively directed by Alda. The cast departed, and Swit's statement couldn't have been more accurate. Some found it difficult to understand that what began as a journey that everyone took together had become a Hawkeye Pierce saga. Wayne Rogers' farewell. After the third season of MS*H in 1975, Wayne Rogers, who portrayed Trapper John, left the show. The explanation was so straightforward that it was almost humorous. His character wasn't receiving enough recognition. When Trapper John initially joined the show, Rogers believed he would be just as good as Hawkeye, but as the show progressed, it became evident that Alan Alda was the true star. Rogers' character was appearing on screen less and less. Wayne's manager reportedly told the Cincinnati Enquirer that he was tired of being in Alda's shadow. Rogers believed that Hawkeye was assuming Trapper John's lead role and taking over his schemes. There was also a contract conflict going on behind the scenes. Wayne demanded more equitable compensation and greater creative freedom. He created his own sitcom, left a major show, and established a successful life apart from acting. Despite their continued friendship, Wayne and Alan ended their relationship due to work. Loss of Lon Stevenson. Many people were taken aback when Lon Stevenson quit MS*H in 1975. He portrayed the endearing Colonel Henry Blake with a genuine, middle American vibe during the turmoil of the Korean War. Stevenson, however, started to detest the role. He expressed to everyone his desire for further development and opportunities to engage in activities beyond his work. It wasn't only about his work. Having to concentrate on just one character made Stevenson feel confined and disregarded. He later claimed that he regretted leaving because he realized that Henry Blake was more of an attraction to the audience than he was as an actor. When Stevenson's character died off-screen in the episode Abyssinia, many fans were disappointed, but his departure demonstrated that he needed to be allowed artistic freedom. Larry Linville's departure. Larry Linville portrayed the arrogant and conceded Major Frank Burns on MS*H for 5 years. However, Linville believed he was unable to improve the figure by the mid-1970s. Hawkeye and Trapper battled a one-dimensional, bad guy named Frank Burns. Linville believed he had done everything he could to keep the character engaging after 5 seasons. He wanted to have more creative freedom because his form was trapped. After his 5-year contract expired, Linville resigned. Because he wanted to test out other portions, he declined the producer's request to extend it. Even though Frank Burns was one of the most well-known villains on television, he didn't want to be recognized for just one part. Gary Berghoff's departure. In 1979, following Season 7, Gary Berghoff, who portrayed Radar O'Reilly, departed MS*H. Personal issues and tensions behind the scenes caused him to leave. Berghoff was approaching 40 years old, yet he was still portraying Radar as a naive, unsophisticated high school clerk. Berghoff wanted to spend more time with his family after working so hard on the show. Conflict also arose on set, primarily between Berghoff and his co-stars. Despite Radar's widespread popularity, Berghoff had a problem with the actor's off-screen conduct. His departure was more related to burnout and family than it was to a conspiracy. In Goodbye Radar, his final performance, both co-stars and viewers shed tears. The Alan Alda Thing. On MS*H, Alan Alda's leadership was problematic. As the show's principal actor, writer, director, and producer, Alda was the true creative power behind it. Some of the other actors felt that the show was overly focused on Alda's character, Hawkeye Pierce, while others praised him for adding depth and intelligence. As the performance progressed, it increasingly became a Hawkeye show, which greatly displeased some of the other members of the group. The cast didn't like it since they felt their characters were receiving less attention, but the show got more dramatic and serious when it concentrated more on Hawkeye. Loretta Swit's legacy and personal life. Whether she was well known or not, she had a great love for life. Her fiery personality and sharp wit were well liked on television, and her private life was equally fascinating. She advocated for animal rights long before it was fashionable in Hollywood to do so. She advocated for people to treat animals with kindness and compassion. Loretta was a vegetarian and vegan in her early years. She advocated for animal rights and denounced all forms of abuse. She loved needlework and was a creative person in addition to her work. She published her designs and personal reflections in a book titled A Needlepoint Scrapbook. On May 30, 2025, she passed away at home in New York City at the age of 87. Despite her passing, her legacy endures in the hearts of her admirers. Her humanitarian efforts, and her iconic portrayal of Margaret, Hot Lips, Houlihan. Her life was about having a purposeful life and leaving behind more than just memories, not just about being famous. She left a legacy, and MS*H evolved from a military comedy to a cultural icon that demonstrated how to combine humor and melancholy with style. It was courageous to defy the conventions of its era and examine what it meant for people to fight, be friends, and survive through satire. In addition to revolutionizing television, the show's 11 seasons produced a close-knit family of characters that viewers could relate to. One of the few constants in that environment was Loretta Swit, a quiet powerhouse with a great deal of emotional depth and a powerful woman in a world dominated by men. Swit remained and contributed to the show's memorable conclusion despite the departure and return of her co-stars. Numerous significant cast members departed, reflecting the character and behind-the-scenes changes. As they grew older, they had to develop as individuals and artists. However, every exit, no matter how unpleasant, made MS*H more grounded. There was more to the play than war. It also focused on how individuals evolve and whether they unite or disintegrate. They did it with courage and passion because of Swit. We appreciate you joining us as we explore the remarkable world of MS*H and the occasions that shaped it. The most well-known television programs are frequently based on both tension and success, as demonstrated by Loretta Swit's legacy and the decisions and exits of her co-stars. Did you like this close-up look? To view more tales from the past of vintage television, please click the subscribe button and like the film. If you activate the alerts, you won't ever miss an update. See you in the upcoming one. The impact of MS*H on pop culture and television. MASH's distinctive blend of poignant moments and dark comedy made TV history. Shows that attempt to be humorous while simultaneously making social statements still exhibit its effects. The show's enormous popularity led to a shift in the way that combat and human emotion were portrayed on television, paving the door for more nuanced and complicated portrayals of difficult subjects. Shows like MASH demonstrated that television could tackle challenging subjects without alienating audiences. MASH* defied convention from the start by daring to humorously discuss weighty subjects like mental health, loss, grief, and the absurdity of war. The fact that it could make viewers laugh and cry at the same time was revolutionary. Such concerts were very new in 1972, but they are now commonplace. The program demonstrated that television may be entertaining and educational. MASH was about discovering what it meant to be human, not just about battle. Through its enduring characters and compelling narratives, MASH* demonstrated how television could alter culture, influence opinions, and spark conversations about the most pressing topics of the day. The final episode of MASH, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, continues to rank among the most watched TV series ever. Because it brought together viewers who had been devoted to the characters and the plot, it was a significant event in TV history. The final episode, which lasted more than 2 hours, marked the end of both the show and the fans' relationship with characters who had grown to be like family. It captured the troops' final moments in Korea, their aspirations for the future, and their private farewells, all of which complemented the depressing tone of the program. The final episode was similar to the entire series in many respects. It had a range of poignant, humorous, and depressing scenes. The protagonists bid each other farewell through flashbacks, reflections on their pasts, and the psychological effects of war. This demonstrated that MASH* was a part of everyone's lives and not just a television program. In the long term, this final scene increased the show's fame even further. The fact that people continue to watch and revisit MASH* demonstrates how timeless its message of humanity, joy, and generosity is. The impact of MASH and Loretta Swit*, the cast's enduring influence is just as much a factor in MASH*'s enduring popularity as the show's innovative blending of comedy and sorrow. Loretta Swit's portrayal of Major Margaret, Hot Lips, Houlihan remains one of the most well-known female characters in television history. Her character's transformation from a harsh, one-dimensional figure to a more complex, compassionate person was comparable to the show's transition from lighthearted humor to a more profound, poignant narrative. MASH* will be remembered for more than simply being entertaining to watch thanks to Loretta's dedication to her character, her strength both on and off the set, and her willingness to discuss the issues that occurred behind the scenes. Subsequent television series have approached difficult subjects in a similar manner, employing drama and comedy to create human tales that compel us to consider the cost of conflict and the value of interpersonal relationships. As Margaret Houlihan, Loretta Swit demonstrated to many women in the entertainment industry that an actor could be both strong and vulnerable. Final thoughts on MASH and Loretta Swit*. It's evident that the show wasn't solely about war when we consider how significant MASH** and Loretta Swit** were to it. It also dealt with relationships, life, and the challenges of humanity. Swit's portrayal of Margaret Houlihan will be remembered for more reasons than just the program. Her character taught us the power of kindness, the resilience of the human spirit, and how we can develop and evolve. Loretta Swit was more than simply her role on MASH Star. She was a driving force behind the cultural impact of the show. Like her persona, the show evolved both in front of and behind the camera. As the show progressed, so did the roles and Loretta Swit's portrayal of Margaret Houlihan. She not only made TV history, but also won over the hearts of those who witnessed her development and transformation thanks to her diligent effort on the role. MASH * created a legacy of kindness, laughter, and sorrow. It demonstrated how TV could tackle difficult subjects with grace and simplicity, and its message is just as potent now as it was in 1972. Loretta Swit's portrayal of Major Margaret "Hot Lips" Houlihan will go down in TV history as one of the most influential roles. Her narrative will always play a significant role in television history, both on and off screen.